You're not hard, queen. You're guarded, and you're allowed to return to the softness without losing power. Somewhere along the way, you started confusing your armor with identity. But the truth is, the softness you had before life hardened you is still there. She's not gone. She's just waiting for you to feel safe again. Hi, I'm Kayali Cole. This is where women learn to love and lead from power and not panic. This is where we return to our truth and learn the strategy of peace, power, and purpose. And before we begin, Queen, stay with me until the very end. Your exclusive Queen's closing gift is waiting there for you. Okay? And I also see a lot of you queens watching but not subscribing yet. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You give your time, I give you my best. That's our promise to each other. So I'll wait a minute. Subscribe yet? Okay. All right. Tonight we're talking about something that every strong woman has wrestled with. Whether she said it out loud or not, this message is for you. The woman who had to toughen up to survive. The woman who told herself she didn't care because caring hurt. The woman who learned silence because her voice wasn't protected. The woman who built walls when all she wanted was someone who wouldn't break what she offered with her whole heart. Tonight's lesson is soft isn't weak. How to stay soft without being played. How to stay open without being used. And how to walk in love without losing yourself in the process. Right? All right. So let's breathe into this slowly. I know it's a lot, but somewhere in your story, there was a moment, maybe small, maybe enormous, where softness no longer felt safe. And so you tightened, you braced, you performed strength. You said you were fine when you weren't. You handled everything alone because the hands you reached for kept letting you down and letting you go. And a part of you learned that vulnerability costs too much when the wrong people are in the room. So you harden, like we all do. But here's the truth. Hardness was a response, not a transformation. It was a reaction to pain, not the truth of who you are. Hardness didn't make you stronger. It made you silent. It made you closed. It made you carry things your spirit was never meant to pick up alone. And I want you to hear me clearly, love. Your softness is not gone. It hasn't left. It's just waiting for you to stop surviving long enough to breathe again, to come up for air. Softness isn't weak. Soft is what you become when you finally feel safe in your own spirit. Let me slow this down for a second because I want you to really feel this. When a woman says, I'm done, sometimes she's not done. She's just tired. When she says, I don't care, sometimes she cares so deeply she doesn't know where to place it anymore. When she says, I don't need anyone, sometimes she's saying, I don't trust anyone enough to lean on. Has that ever been you? I know it has been me plenty of times. You start acting harder because life didn't handle your softness with care. You start moving like you didn't need connection because connection cost you too much. You start talking like nothing bothers you because the moment you showed vulnerability, someone mishandled it. But you know what? You know what I learned? Hardness is loud. It's protective. It's reactive. But softness is wise. Softness is discerning. Softness is a woman who can say, I love fully but I won't self-destruct to prove it. Softness is strength with self-respect. But before we talked about softness as power, I want to tell you something straight from one woman who had to learn and relearn softness to another. You didn't fail for becoming hard. You survived. Let that sink in. You didn't fail. You adapted. You protected yourself the only way you knew how to at the time. And now that you're healing, you don't need that version of protection anymore. You don't need to shrink your heart. You don't need to numb your feelings. You don't need to shut down first so nobody can hurt you. You don't need to be unbothered to seem strong. You don't need to choose loneliness just to avoid disappointment. I want to let that sink in. Because there's a difference between being safe and being guarded. Being safe is rooted in discernment. Being guarded is rooted in fear. Let me ask you something gently and be honest with yourself. Are you protecting yourself from danger? Or are you protecting yourself from disappointment? Think about it. Because sometimes we build the same walls for both. I remember a season in my own life, I didn't even realize I had become cold. I wasn't mean. I wasn't rude. I wasn't harsh. I was just unavailable. Didn't want to be bothered. Emotionally on airplane mode. Nobody could get too close, or even when they tried, I kept everything surface level. I told myself it was wisdom. I told myself it was discernment. I told myself it was standards, but it wasn't. It was fear. I dressed it up as maturity. It was pain I disguised as boundaries. And it wasn't until someone said, "Okay, you're not protecting your peace. You're just avoiding connection." Really? That hit me because I thought I was doing the right thing, but it was out of fear. And hardness feels like power until you realize it keeps out the good too. It keeps it out. Have you ever built a wall so high that even the right person couldn't climb it? That's what hardness does. It doesn't select, it blocks. It blocks everything out. Softness selects. Softness says, I choose carefully. Hardness says, I choose nothing at all. I don't want to be bothered. Leave me alone. Softness says, I'm open, but I'm not naive. Hardness says, if I don't feel, I can't get hurt. Softness says, I trust my discernment. Hardness says, I trust nothing. So let me repeat this for the woman who learned strength the hard way. Soft isn't weak. Soft is controlled openness. Soft is measured vulnerability. Soft is emotional intelligence with self-respect attached. Some women think they have a cold heart. But Queen, hearts don't go cold. They go scared. Your softness froze because your spirit was tired of being mishandled. And now as you heal, your softness is asking permission to thaw. But thawing takes time. So tonight I want to teach you how to open your heart without losing your standards, how to soften your spirit without making yourself accessible to everyone. No. How to give love without abandoning yourself in the process. Because there's a myth out there that feminine softness means being walked all over. No, not in this kingdom, not in this space, not in this classroom. Softness is a strategy. Softness is wisdom. Softness is knowing you can speak gently and still be taken seriously. Softness is knowing you can set standards without raising your voice. Softness is knowing you don't have to mimic a man's energy to get respect. I'm gonna let that settle. Softness is knowing who you are without needing to defend it. If this is speaking to you, love, pause for a second and hit that subscribe button. We're building a community of women who heal deeply, love wisely, live peacefully. You being here means your spirit is already shifting. Right? So let's talk about why so many women become hard. Hardness is never random. Hardness is a reaction to emotional injury. Hardness comes from feeling unprotected. Hardness comes from giving without receiving. Hardness comes from being dismissed, overlooked, neglected, minimized, or used for your softness instead of honored for it. And the worst part, a lot of women become hard not because of men, but because of environments where softness wasn't safe. Growing up in homes where emotions were ignored, being in relationships where vulnerability was mocked, working in spaces where sensitivity was treated like a weakness, living in survival mode year after year after year, until softness started to feel like a luxury you couldn't afford. So the hardness wasn't random, it was learned. But here's the thing, if hardness was learned, softness can be relearned. Softness is not something you're born with and then lose forever. It's something you return to when the environment finally feels right again. Softness is what rises when your nervous systems stop living in fight mode. Softness is what appears when your boundaries are strong enough to protect you. Softness is what returns when your spirit finally exhaled after years of holding everything together. So if you've been saying, I don't know how to be soft anymore, let me tell you the truth. You do. You do. Your softness isn't gone. It's just waiting for your safety. It's waiting for you to trust yourself again. Because softness doesn't start with trusting other people. Softness starts with trusting yourself to handle what happens next. Softness begins with self-trust, and that's where a lot of women get stuck because life taught you to trust your strength, not your softness. Life taught you to trust your independence, your alertness, your edge, but it never taught you how to trust the gentle version of you. The version that feels deeply, the version that loves without fear, the version that doesn't need to armor up every time she walks into a room. I want to say something softly, and I want you to really hear me with your whole spirit. Your softness didn't disappear. It shut down because you didn't feel protected. And now that you're healing, it's ready to rise again, slowly, safely, and intentionally. Because here's the trap of a lot of women and what they fall into. You try to soften while still staying in environments that require hardness. You try to be tender with people who only understood tension. You try to be gentle with people who only respond to force. You try to love in spaces that don't know how to hold your love with any type of care. And then you blame yourself when it doesn't work. Queen, listen to me. Softness isn't weakness. But softness must be selective. Softness must be deserved. Softness must be protected. You can't soften in a space that's still demanding your armor. And this is where discernment comes in. People hear softness and think it means available. No, your softness is sacred. Your softness is access. Your softness is intimacy. Your softness is spiritual currency. And you don't hand out spiritual currency to people who treat your heart like spare change, like it's worthless. Let me say it like this. The wrong person will drain your softness. The right person will deepen it. Your softness will bloom in the presence of safety. Your softness will hide in the presence of danger. This is why emotional maturity matters, not because you're trying to impress anybody, but because softness requires containers. Softness needs context. Softness grows in environments where clarity leads, not confusion. Softness grows where communication is consistent, not conditional. Softness grows where masculinity isn't threatened by your openness, but honored by it. Softness is not a personality trait. It's a nervous system response to safety. And the moment I understood that, it changed everything. Because I stopped blaming myself for becoming hard. And I stopped blaming myself for wanting softness again. I realized something. Hardness, it saved me. But softness transforms me. Hardness kept me alive a few times. But softness helps me to live. Hardness built the wall. Softness builds the home. That realization unblocked something in me because I stopped judging who I had been and I started supporting who I was becoming. I realized I didn't need to swing between extremes. I didn't need to be fully guarded or fully open. There was a middle place, a discerning place, a wise place, a place where softness and strength work together, not against each other. That is where your femininity becomes powerful. Softness with discernment, warmth with boundaries, love with self-respect, intact. All right, let me tell you something that happened. Now I'm going to stop being so poetic and just get down to the nitty-gritty because I'm always poetic. But I want you to take this into your next conversation, your next date, your next decision. Anytime you feel yourself beginning to harden, pause and ask, is this hardness protecting me or is it preventing me? Is it protecting your peace or preventing connection? Is it protecting your standards or preventing intimacy? Is it protecting your heart or preventing evolution? And here's what you'll notice. Most hardness doesn't protect, it prevents. It prevents good love from reaching you. It prevents safe people from seeing you. It prevents blessings from flowing to you. It prevents joy from settling inside you. Hardness keeps you alive. Softness helps you thrive. Now let me tell you something that might sting a little, but it's spoken with a lot of compassion because I care about you. Some women think they're protecting themselves from heartbreak, but really, they're protecting themselves from vulnerability. Because vulnerability requires trust. Trust requires discernment. Discernment requires presence. And presence requires softness. So the real question is, how do I stay soft without being weak? The real question is, how do I stay soft without surrendering my self-trust? And the answer is so simple, it almost sounds too easy. You stay soft by staying honest with yourself. Honest about what you feel. Honest about what you need. Honest about what you require. Honest about where your spirit feels open. Honest about where your spirit feels tight. Because softness doesn't disappear because of pain. Softness disappears because of dishonesty. Every time you pretend you didn't care, you hardened. Every time you accepted less than what you required, you hardened. Every time you swallowed the truth to keep someone, you hardened. Every time you made room for confusion but called it love, you hardened. Hardness happens in tiny, silent moments of self-abandonment. So how do you soften again? You come back to yourself. You come back to the truth. You come back to alignment. You come back to your body. You come back to your intuition. You come back to yourself. That woman you were before life taught you to brace for impact. You come back to honesty. Softness is simply what happens when your spirit stops flinching. If this is speaking to you, love, let me know in the comments. And if you're watching and haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that button. We're building a community of women who heal deeply, love wisely, and live peacefully. All right, let's keep going. Just had to add it in there. There is a version of you that loves freely, without fear, right? A version of you that smiles with your whole face, not just your lips. A version of you that trusts your intuition so deeply, you no longer second guess those whispers God puts in your spirit. A version of you whose softness doesn't feel like danger but destiny. That version of you isn't far away. She's already here. He's already here. She's just buried under layers of survival mode. And this next part might activate something in you because it's a truth most women don't want to admit. You didn't become hard because you're strong. You became hard because you were tired of being disappointed. And that's okay. Disappointment has a way of making your heart brace, but healing has a way of making your heart breathe again. And here's the truth I want you to walk into boldly. Softness doesn't need permission from the world. It needs permission from you. Because softness is not something people give you. Softness is something you allow yourself to have. A lot of women walk around waiting for someone to earn their softness. But here's the real shift. Your softness was never meant to be earned. Your softness was meant to be honored. Say that again. Your softness was meant to be honored. And when you start honoring your own softness, something powerful happens. You stop auditioning for love. You stop negotiating for peace. You stop performing for approval. You stop shrinking for connection. You start choosing what feels aligned. You start listening when your spirit tightens. You start believing yourself the first time. You start loving without abandoning yourself. That's what real softness looks like. Not weakness, wisdom, not fear, discernment, not fragility, feminine strength. So let's talk about how you stay soft and stay safe at the same time. Because the world taught you they're opposites. But the healed version of you knows they're partners. Softness says, my heart is open. Discernment says, but not to everyone. Softness says, I'm willing to feel. Discernment says, but I won't carry what doesn't belong to me. Softness says, I believe in love. Discernment says, but I follow truth, not potential. This balance is what makes a woman unshakable. She doesn't close off to stay safe. She chooses wisely to stay soft. Let me give you a moment from my own life. Yeah. There was someone I once cared for deeply. And every time they drifted, my instinct was to protect myself, like shutting down first. You know that feeling, pull back before you get pulled. Close the door before someone else closes it. Act like you don't care before you have to feel that sting again. Yeah. My kryptonite was rejection, so I try to avoid it at all costs. That's what survival me taught myself. But survival K couldn't build the life healed K wanted. So one day I told myself, you don't have to harden to be safe, girl. You just have to choose better. And that was a turning point. Not because they changed, but because I did. Because softness with no standards is dangerous. But softness with boundaries, that's divine feminine power. Here's something I know in my bones. When a woman who used to fight for her softness finally learns to protect it, she becomes a completely different force. Because softness becomes strength when you choose it. Consciously, not desperately. Softness becomes power when it's no longer reactive. It's intentional. Softness becomes peace when it's supported by standards, boundaries, and self-trust. And I want you to hear this next part clearly. You don't have to prove your softness. You don't have to perform your softness. You don't have to justify your softness. Softness is your natural state. Hardness was the season. And seasons change. Because softness isn't just a concept. It's an action you take every day. So here's a small move for this week. When someone disappoints you or triggers that old instinct to shut down, pause and say, what version of me is responding right now? The one who survived or the one who's healing? If it's the survival version, breathe. If it's the healed version, choose. Give your heart a moment to catch up before you let an old wound make a new decision for you. Right? And to put that into practice. A large move you can make this week, the one that opens the door to real softness. Write a list called Where My Softness is Safe. Who earns it? What environments support it? Which people handle it with care? Which habits bring it forward? Which boundaries protect it? This exercise will show you something powerful. Your softness doesn't need to disappear. It just needs direction. Let's take a breath together. Let's inhale softness and exhale armor. Every time you breathe in and out, it loosens up your shoulders. It untightens your chest. That's your body remembering it's allowed to rest. You're not becoming weaker. You're becoming wiser. You're not losing your edge. You're sharpening your discernment. You're not letting people walk over you. You're walking away from what doesn't deserve you. Softness is not the risk. Giving softness to the wrong people is the risk. And you're done doing that. You're done doing that. You're done doing that 3 times. If this message is speaking to your spirit, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Again, we're building a community of women who heal deeply, love wisely, and live peacefully. You being here means you're doing the work. You're doing the work. Now, Queen, place your hand over your heart, right? Say this with me softly. I am soft because I am strong. I am strong because I am soft. And my softness will never cost me myself again. This is your alignment. This is your power. This is your new way of loving. Sometimes we just have to breathe and do our affirmations. That's why I always tell women, before you soften for anyone else, you have to soften toward yourself first. Because if you don't trust your own softness, you will always protect it more than you use it. Let me break this down slowly. If softness feels unsafe, you will show up guarded even when no one is hurting you. You will read every pause as rejection. You will misinterpret every silence as abandonment. You will brace for impact even when love is trying to land gently, right? And that's not you being dramatic. That's an old wound calling the shots. But healed softness doesn't guess. Healed softness doesn't make things worse mentally for you. Healed softness doesn't assume the worst. Healed softness listens and responds instead of panicking and reacting. This is where the real transformation happens. Not when you soften for a man, or soften for your family, or soften for the world, but when you soften for you. For you. When you say, I'm not going to punish myself for what someone else did. When you say, I'm not going to deny myself tenderness because I had to be tough or strong. When you say, I'm not going to shrink into armor because someone mishandled my heart. When you say, I deserve to be soft but be protected. You don't want to live in survival mode anymore. You want to live in the soft era. Let me tell you, there was a day I was sitting in my car just thinking, processing. I don't know, my car is my safe place sometimes. Trying to hold myself after another disappointment. And I remember saying out loud, almost whispering, I'm tired of pretending I don't care. You know, sometimes it just comes out. And as soon as I said it, I felt something unlock inside me, because pretending wasn't strength. Pretending was survival. Pretending was me shielding myself from the truth that I did care, and I care deeply. Pretending was my old self standing guard long after the danger had passed. That's when I realized softness isn't what hurts you. Ignoring the hurt is what hurts you. Softness lets you feel. Hardness makes you carry. Softness lets the wound breathe. Hardness keeps it infected. Softness says, this touched me, and I'm allowed to say that. Hardness says, don't let anybody see you bleed. And I don't know about you, but I've lived enough seasons where my silence cried louder than my voice. Seasons where I held everything in because I didn't want to look weak. Seasons where I kept acting like nothing bothered me because I didn't want anyone thinking they had power over my emotions. But here's the truth. You learn with evolution and time. Softness doesn't give everyone power over you. Softness gives you power over yourself. Because when you're truly soft, you're not pretending anymore. You're not performing. You're not calculating. You're not protecting a wound. You're honoring your worth. And softness with worth, that's where your influence begins. That's where your glow returns. That's where your voice shifts from guarded to grounded. People always talk about the soft girl era, like it's just candles and skincare. But softness that's real, softness that's rooted, softness that's healed, it's internal. It's emotional. It's spiritual. It's the way you talk to yourself in the morning when you get up. It's the way you let yourself rest without feeling guilty. It's the way you stop auditioning for people who never deserve front row seats to your life and your story. Softness isn't aesthetic. Softness is alignment. Let me say that again, clearly. Softness is alignment, not aesthetics. Alignment with who you are, alignment with what you need, alignment with what the woman you're becoming, alignment with what you require. When you soften from alignment, not desperation, you stop attracting people who feed on the hardened parts of you, and you start attracting people who honor the soft parts of you. Because here's a secret. The people meant for you don't need your armor. They need your authenticity. They need your truth. They need your presence. They need your heart, not your defenses. And when you start living like that, your whole world recognizes itself around peace, around clarity, around ease, around emotional honesty. Softness doesn't make life easier. It makes life truer. You ever notice once you soften, the things that were draining you don't even appeal to you anymore? The conversations feel different. The relationships feel different. The way you choose people feels different. Because softness sharpens intuition. Softness heightens discernment. Softness increases emotional intelligence. Softness lets you see people clearly, not through trauma, not through fantasy, but through truth. And truth keeps you safe, far better than walls ever could. Say softness 10 times, you'll see. And love, here's something I want you to really sit with. Softness is not something you earn back once life gets easier. Softness is something you reclaim because you get stronger. Not stronger in hardness, stronger in honesty, stronger in discernment, stronger in self-trust. Because when you truly trust yourself, you're not afraid to be soft. You're not afraid to care. You're not afraid to love. You're not afraid to open your heart because you know you'll never abandon yourself again. Right? Never. That's the difference between softness before healing and softness after healing. There's a difference. Before healing, softness feels dangerous. After healing, softness feels divine. Before healing, softness feels like exposure. After healing, softness feels like alignment. Before healing, softness feels like sacrifice. After healing, softness feels like choice. So let me ask you something gently. Are you protecting yourself from the world? Or are you protecting yourself from the version of you who didn't yet know how to choose herself? Because sometimes we're not guarding our heart from people. We're guarding our heart from our old decisions, our old patterns, our old wounds. But that woman is not here anymore. You've outgrown her. You've outlived her. You've learned what she didn't know, and you can bless her without becoming her again. Let that land. You can bless her without becoming her again. And instead of forcing yourself to soften all at once, ask one simple question. What would softness look like for me today? Not tomorrow, not for the whole month, just today. Would softness look like allowing yourself to rest without calling it laziness? Would softness look like telling the truth instead of pretending you're okay? Would softness look like receiving help without guilt? Would softness look like saying no without a 2-paragraph explanation? Softness is not this big dramatic leap. Softness is tiny returns to yourself, tiny returns to the truth, tiny returns to peace, tiny returns to your own heart. That's how you build a soft life. Not all at once, but breath by breath. You don't have to harden to be strong, queen. You just have to be honest. Honest about what you feel. Honest about what you need. Honest about what you no longer is willing to carry. Because a woman who is soft and safe within herself is a woman who is truly powerful. Before you go, make sure you subscribe. We're building a community of queens who heal loudly but love quietly. Drop a comment and tell me, what's one place in your life you're ready to soften again? Stay calm, stay clear, stay crowned, because peace is power and you wear it well. And queen, that's today's message. Your exclusive Queen's Closing gift is next. Take your time with it. Stay calm, stay clear, and stay crowned. Have a blessed day.